Well, yeah, I think we are finally there. Emily put together a bunch of different computers today and has made a supercomputer. She came on like a megaphone, and now we have got her. Emily, give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tiny turtles on the telephone talking to the Knives Templars. Hey, there we go. It's sounding good. It's sounding good. I think we are ready to go after, what do we spend about 30 minutes there getting it all ready? I think so. But we sound perfect. Right. We sound perfect. We'll see how it sounds on the other side.
3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce. You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast. Featuring Jason Fry.
Yeah, I've been just been doing what we do.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Mark Vasallo.
There would be a lot of places I would launch myself to.
Chip Carlisle. We've had a raccoon come through the screen door down in the family room.
I was a mean kid.
And Josh Ferrand. And now, broadcasting across planet Earth, it is the Knives Templars, coming to you live from PORKHouse Studios right here in Hartselle, Alabama, and scattered across the country. We are on demand, and it's time to sit back and enjoy another show of the KnivesTemplars.com. Well, hello, Knives Templars Nation. This is Chip Carlisle with the Knives Templars, inviting you to another great episode of the Knives Templars podcast. We are at season 7, episode 70. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to that 100th birthday. We'll be there before you know it. And I'm so excited to let you know it's 31 degrees outside. And for us guys that live down south, we've got Emily and Mark and Chip on tonight. Emily's down in Florida. Mark's in southern Alabama, just right down on the Gulf. And I'm up in North Alabama. And I should be drinking a little moonshine to try and keep myself warmed up here, but I've switched to coffee for the time being. Guys, settle in for a new episode. Again, episode 70. We are the best podcast in the nation, on the planet, in the universe, the galaxy, and the whatever else they call it area right outside the galaxy. I saw a name for it this week on telling us where Voyager was. You guys weren't even born when they launched Voyager 1, but I was. And so far, it's in that cottage cheese zone out there beyond the galaxy. So anyway, we are ranked very high. And it has a lot to do with what we and you as listeners put into this program. If you haven't visited KnivesTemplars.com, you need to right now, because not only do you see my hairy face out there, you get to see all of the Templars, including Emily with Casting Crafts. So this is episode number 2. And I will apologize right now. Emily called in on her first show using her potato. And no, she didn't. She called in using her microphone and everything she had at the house, and it sounded a little off for me. So here from from Control Central in Hartselle, Alabama, I adjusted her controls without her knowledge, and she came on the first podcast to make her big debut with sounding like for about 9%. Not her fault. And you guys that didn't make it through that, I'm sorry. You should have listened, because we cleared her up. Then she came back again because I did it again. And when we got through that, she came back great. And we discovered during that process, not only is she a wonderfully interesting person with one of the biggest hearts we've ever seen, she's a great podcaster. So nobody's ever got in that quick. Emily is now a Knives Templars. Welcome, Emily. Welcome to episode number 2 for you, episode 70 for the team. Thank you. That's it?
Yes, I'm still laughing about the potato.
First check? Did you get the check in the mail? Did Chip send you the check for your first episode?
I emailed. It's just a check
No.
mark. Yeah, it's just a check mark.
Check mark.
It's a check mark.
Yeah. So we also have Mark. Good evening, Mark. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Chip.
Yeah.
It's it's not as cold here. It's actually 41 here, so 10 degrees from the north part to the south part of Alabama.
My goodness, I'm surprised that you are not out swimming in what do you call that? Mobile Bay.
That's right.
That's right.
I was a little earlier.
Yeah, you got it. You can grease it up.
I was gonna go in. Yeah, I was going to go all the way up to Canada, but I decided it was going to get cold.
Well, if you do go to Canada, you're going to be heading up to Maritime Knife Supply, and I will tell you real quick, they're at maritimeknifesupply.com, and Mark swims up there 3 times a week. So if you guys down south need anything, just let him know. And if you're on the east coast of Florida, he comes down the east coast and works his way back around. If you live over in Mississippi, doesn't quite get that far, so you have to drive back over there to get your stuff. But they have great products and service in Canada internationally. That's the United States as well. And you need to check out Maritime for great deals and service, steel abrasives, handle material, kilns, grinders, and other tools and equipment. And know that Maritime Knife Supply provides the knife maker with what they need to make wonderful blades. And I believe he just had a birthday too, as I'm not mistaken. So happy birthday to Maritime Knife Supply. He's a wonderful guy. Talking to birthdays. How do I look, guys? Do I look 60 years old?
You just had one.
Yeah, yes. 60. I'm officially, I've got, wait, I've got it on my phone. I have to tell you here. Let me open up the app because I've got a countdown timer to retirement, and I can show you guys this thing. Every day I get a nice little message. I have 6 years, 3 months, 24 days, 21 hours, 23 minutes, and 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. And I tell you what, that's the day that Shegman Knives will be open for business full time. And probably not making any more knives than I'm making now, but I'll just sit out there and enjoy the birds and everything. We mentioned I've already been to knifetemplars.com. Tonight we're going to have some topics, questions, some general discussions about knives and life and things that make us want to run out and tell everybody about it. But I want to tell you what, I want to thank these two folks in here because we did have to get some software installed at the last minute. Emily went out and made a purchase to get herself sounding good on this podcast, bought herself a new microphone and everything, got it hooked up on her Windows Potato, and she laughed at Potato before, so I thought she's got a Windows 11 machine. So, and I've got a 2015 iMac, so I'm all about keeping things working and going. But I want you to know that we work double shifts around here to bring this to you. Emily spent Saturday washing cars just so that she could afford that microphone down by the Winn-Dixie there. She didn't go to Publix. Publix wouldn't let her on, but Winn-Dixie said, hey, you can watch. They don't get the business Publix does. But she washed cars all day just to bring this to you, to bring home our funny. And she doesn't want you to thank you. She won't ask for any thanks. But the other option was to sit home and make scales all weekend. So thank you for choosing to come here and be with us. Mark, what have you been doing? What have you been doing since we last came together? You were, I know we've had some Thanksgiving, but what's going on?
Yeah, well, there's a Thanksgiving, but as far as in the knife world, I've been transitioning to getting a lot of leather work done. So I got my holiday gift knives done, and so those are all done. And so I've been working on some sheaths here, and so still every time I work on something, I try to do something a little bit different and try something new. So I did another Alabama cleaver sheath, which was pretty similar to the last one.
Let me stop you there, Emily. Did you see this man's leather work?
I don't know. I'm gonna go with no.
Oh, I thought you had saw it out there on our private. We have a private group on our private group week. Yeah.
Go ahead. If I commented on it, then I saw it.
I think he did. He had a large cleaver sheath. He had a smaller knife sheath, and then he had a unfinished sheath.
I saw that.
And I didn't care about the color or any of the tooling or anything, which was perfect. The man stitches like a robot. You are not human.
I saw that,
Mark. How do you do?
Yeah, so actually, I tried something new this time with stitching.
You look like
right?
you used iron. Even though you used irons, right?
So, of course, I use irons on half of it, right? And so traditionally what I do for the rest of my sheaths is that I'll half the sheath, I'll punch them with stitching irons and then I'll glue it up and then I will drill through. I've tried a nail before. I've tried a small bit before. I found a bit with some backing to keep the leather from blowout, just like you would have blowout in like wood or scales. That works best to give like a clean, the cleanest hole in there. But this time, so that's what I did on the cleaver and the small knife sheath. But then that unfinished one, I tried something different. I'm not sure if I'm happy with it or not because I haven't stitched on it yet. What I did is I did the stitching iron on the front and got the nice even with a groove, right? And so got the stitching holes done for that. Then what I did is I lined it up with the back part of the sheath and put an all through and marked the back piece of leather and tried to use the stitching iron separately on the back piece to go the rest of the way through, because if you try to go through all three pieces, the welt in the front and the back all at the same time, it'll get like jammed in there because it just wedges in there too tight. And then you're trying to, rip it out and it's just not a good, it doesn't work well. And so I was trying this because what I wanted that slant line because I have, it's not straight stitches. It's my stitching iron has the, 45-degree slant or some angle on it.
Yeah, kind of a diamond-shaped chisel that goes down through there that creates that.
And then, so what I wanted that same diamond shape on the back instead of a round hole so that, I can get the stitches all the way through to be out of the top or the bottom of that line. And so I tried that, still the same thing. You got to make sure everything is vertical and aligned so that, they're off. So I think it came out pretty even, but I haven't stitched with it yet. I haven't done my stitching on it yet. So, just got to get the backside of that done. So, we'll see how it goes, but it's something new.
I've always told people I didn't like them if they did things better than me, and I'm getting to that point with you with your leather. I probably haven't liked you for months because of this, but I just haven't had the courage to say so yet. But your leather is just people see the sheath before they see the knife. And
and that's true. I think there's also some things is that you don't want your sheath to outdo your knife, right? You don't want to say, "Wow, that's a great sheath," and then pull the knife out and like, "Ooh."
Yes. But then again, I've made some sheaths that looked really good and the knife didn't for that reason. It's kind of like my golf game. My golf game, I had a $2,000 bag of clubs. I wore the nicest golf clothing and went out and shot like a drunk knucklehead and came back and ate my hot dog, did the other half like a drunk knucklehead. I wasn't drunk. That's how I play. And then came back and put everything away. And you would have never known how much cheating I did out there to make golf game look good. I had to give that up. I conquered that about as much as I was going to. But so you can do the same thing with knives. You can put them in a pretty sheath. But I don't think that you're doing that because you personally have some really gorgeous knives I've seen this week too. You've done a nice job.
And you have some winter sheets out there too. That snakehead one. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one like that. That's definitely top of the game.
Do you remember that, Emily? Did I show you my snakehead sheath at Blade?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I I mean, at Blade, I talked to
If I
like
had
2,000
known,
people at Blade.
she would have. Well,
You have to
and
forgive
undoubtedly,
me, but
you don't remember giving me a hug, and because you hugged everybody that came
I
up.
remember the
because you're-
hug. I
Oh,
remember
okay,
the
very
hug.
good.
The hugs
All
I
right.
remember.
Okay, very good, very good. Hopefully, I was in the top 10 of friendly, I would say agape Christian love hugs, and I don't say that for any other reason. I just don't want to seem inappropriate. But you are the sweetest person to say that. But if I had shown you a sheath with a cobra head out the top from a skinned cobra, knowing you and your love for animals, you probably would have taken me out.
No, I don't
No?
recall that one.
Good, because I probably would have been taken out.
I do not recall that one.
Yeah. It was neat, and I'm still
Not
talking
necessarily,
about it.
No.
Well, I'm getting ready to top it because the sheath I'm making for the knife I have not shown anybody pictures of right now. The one I decided to stop showing pictures till it's done. I'm going to be incorporating a reliefed. What do you call that? Is it relief when you take the metal and you stamp the image in it from the back and get like a 3D image? I'm getting ready to debut a reliefed Bigfoot in a sheath. So it'll be a framed window with that relief Bigfoot coming through. So, and just so you know, the metal I used was a Coke Zero can. So brought to you by Coke
nice.
Zero. Yeah, I just use Coke cans when I do that. You trace the image on there, and then you go through and you use a series of pins and rollers and stuff just to kind of bring that image out and slowly define it in. It's pretty easy once you learn to do it. So what are you working on now, Mark? What you got going on this week?
Actually, I'm finishing up the last sheath I was making, the one that you saw that was unfinished, that I just dyed today. The one for my hidden tang knife is, I'm actually trying to make what it's called. I think they call it a Mexican loop on there, which is the bottom part of the sheath is standalone, and that'll just kind of go over the blade. But then it'll be a separate loop that hooks onto your belt that you can slide the piece of the sheath in. And so I'm trying to this weekend. I'm trying to finish off. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. I'm just kind of making it work of how I envision it. And so so this weekend I'm trying to finish that off. And then hey, I got to use your anvil for the first time. Not anvil? On the knife.
My anvil.
Your past anvil.
Gotcha. Your anvil.
Your previous anvil. My new anvil.
Yes.
My new to me anvil. Yeah. So had to rework some a lunge line for a horse, and they had some of these like super thick crimp ends on there. So and the horse broke it, so I had to get all that out, and so I kind of pounded that back into shape, and so hey, worked perfectly.
Your wife saw you doing cowboy work on an anvil for her horse, and she fell in love with you all over again, didn't she?
That's right.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah, so there's that, and then really, since I'm leaving for we're going on a trip. We're leaving next weekend up to see my family in New Jersey. Just going to try to get the shop cleaned up. I got a couple other side projects. I'm finishing up. I'm making a strop. I've kind of always laid a piece of leather down on my table and use that as a strop, but I'm actually making a strop with wood on it, and I'm gonna glue it on there and everything like that. And so, got some advice from the David Moore, probably king of sharpness on.
That's right.
So
the polishing polishing compounds or
That's
sharpening.
Right. So I have that right here. And then the last thing I'm going to be working on is, and we can talk more about that sharpening compound.
Yeah, let's hold off on that a little bit.
Okay,
we're gonna when we come back, we're gonna talk about polishing compounds. Go ahead though. Go ahead. We'll be back later.
Just and then the last thing I have here is I have a box of little 1 ounce tins, some beeswax, and some mineral oil.
So are you going to be making beard wax?
That's right.
Well, remarkably,
beard wax for knives.
Remarkably, I have a bunch of 1 inch and 2 ounce tins, and 1 ounce and 2 ounce. And this past week, I was melting beeswax, jojoba, some lanolin, and some coconut oil, and making. You see this? My handlebar I'm growing out here.
I see it.
Yeah, I make my own wax, and my beard's looking all puffy. Thank you very much. So I've got those
you
same
can hang
tins
a sheath to dry on that.
I don't know about that, but I'm up to about a 3. I'm up to about 3 inches on my beard now. So I've got about 18 inches to go before I pass my last beard. So I will get there. But it's interesting you're doing that, because I do use my occasionally. I use Axe Wax. It's a wonderful product, but I've been known when I'm in the bedroom or whatever, and I have a knife case in there that I'll use some of my homemade beard wax on knives too. So very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar.
I just want to make sure that I want to make sure a couple of folks that I'm giving these knives to Christmas had something to put on them, right off the bat to keep them.
That's very nice. Now remember, when you make it, have you had Axe Wax or any of the other waxes before?
I have.
Yeah, so the consistency is a little bit soft, not terribly soft, just a little on the softer side. So people aren't having to dig it out with their finger or fingernail or with this and the other. They can do it either way. It just, what you want to do is get it to stick and melt real easy. So, go a little heavier on the oil-based products and versus the wax. I don't know if it's 2 to 1 or whatever it is, but maybe 3 to 1. But you'll find the ratio. Yeah,
I think it was 3 to 1 is what I was gonna start with.
I think that's what
I'm just gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and if you get some of your wife's peppermint oil, it smells so good when your knives smell like peppermint.
Oh, all right.
That's a good idea.
Hey, that might be a Templar tip there.
Might be. Emily, how was your Thanksgiving?
I was thinking, I'll answer that in a moment about
Sure.
these polishes. I've had many people ask me how to finish my handles. And I don't want to talk about my handles in specifics,
Yes, we do.
But how do you
Yes, we
finish
do.
resin
That's
handles?
at castingcrafts.com. We're not talking about castingcrafts.com, but go right ahead.
So I don't know if you two have experience with resin handles, but what would be the finishing compound or wax or whatever you use at the end? Many people are asking me that, and I know that most polishes are fine for the resin material, but is there anything that sticks out more than?
So the resin that I have used, I use standard wet dry paper, and I take that out to about 1,500. And after that, I've got some 3,000 grit polishing paste, and I've got some 5,000 grit. I've never used the 5,000. 3,000 tends to do it. And I will set and rub that with a, what do you call those cloths? The ones that don't shed or anything. Ones you can wipe things down and it doesn't leave lint.
Yeah, like a microfiber cloth.
Microfiber, thank you. I use a microfiber, and I use that like I'm sanding. After that, I will take them to a buffer and very lightly hit them with just the clean buffer, the loose clean buffer, with some white paste. And when I say lightly, if you do it too hard, you're going to melt it. So a lot of times you can just put a buffer wheel in your drill press, and you just want to get that final bit of polish on there, and they're crystal clear at that point. Most of it comes out when you get to that 3,000 grit, and you just sit and put some polishing paste on it and just kind of polish it at that point. They come out really nice, but the buffer really brings out a little shine, a little glimmer. Saw that on YouTube's where I learned it.
All right.
Yeah. The powder I've got, it comes as a dry powder, and I mix it with some mineral oil. So yeah, it was used to polish vacuum chambers in the semiconductor industry. So, I told you I was the king of the micarta dive lip for fishing lures, which I discovered the micarta at first in the semiconductor industry, circuit board material. I also discovered polishing powder for sealing surfaces. So there you go.
There you go.
Does a beautiful job. I don't do a lot of resin though, and I need to. Did I tell you I've got some turkey scales? I think I don't have an episode where I don't talk about those turkey feather scales. So
you mentioned it the last time.
Yeah, and we're past Thanksgiving again, but I'm telling you, turkey season's coming up around March, and I want to do a knife that is more of a Western type Bowie with an elk antler handle, and I want to incorporate those scales actually as part of the sheath, as an inlay in the sheath. So we'll see if we can get there. I might need you to make me some more, make them just a little bit thinner, but I think these may work. So I will let you know. Maybe the sheath and the handle. We will see.
Do let me know. Are you thinking turkey feathers as an inlay? In resin as an inlay?
So like the resin handle scales that you made me, I was thinking about thinning those out, routing a little groove around them so I could put a lip underneath a framed in leather piece, and then have that turkey feather in the shape of the feather would be inlaid into that leather sheath. So you'd have the turkey feather under glass, so to speak, in the leather sheath. So I think that will be a traffic. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I did make that snakehead sheath, I realized that everybody makes sheaths. What sets sheaths apart? And that's the challenge. And a lot of people, I've looked up sheaths, some of the leather work that's done, and I'm not talking about stamping. Stamping's beautiful. It's an art in itself. I'm talking about something that really makes it's kind of like the guy who taped the banana to the wall and called it artwork. Nobody had done it before. And, putting the snakehead on the sheath. It's probably been done before, but something that somebody goes, what is that? Well, it's kind of cool looking. The banana wasn't cool looking, but the thing is you just want to do something that maybe somebody hasn't thought about before, because we all make shiny things with points and handles on them. To varying degrees of beauty. I'm not saying they all look the same, but I'll talk to you about that, because that's I'm getting closer to that.
Good. We can come up with something.
I saw you tore down a huge building in your backyard. Very good.
Oh yes, I did, by myself.
Yeah.
It was a challenge.
Well, we would have loved.
So
we would have loved to have helped you if you had called us. We would have given you all the moral support you needed.
But all of my people live in different states, so here I am.
Yeah, yes.
Running a one-man show.
Remind me again, what area of Florida are you in?
Ocala. I'm in Central Florida.
Oh yeah. So how are you below Orlando or?
No, I'm northwest of Orlando.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just a little, like an hour north.
Well, if my son practices dentistry down there, I'll come down and look at where you moved the building sometime and go, that was a nice job. And you can show me your handle, your excuse me, your what did Otis here says? We don't call them shops. We call them studios. You can show me your studio. So there you go.
Studio. I call it just a resin room, but I can call it a resin studio.
I think
it does not look like a studio. It's
but if you sell scales and stuff from a resin studio, I think your value just went. Your prices just went up 10%.
It just went up.
You can charge more. Yep.
Yes.
You'll have to start wearing scarves like me around your neck, big, beautiful scarf and looking all artsy fartsy from somewhere. But, kind of like how Eric Rivers dresses like a pirate in a dress. He was doing that the past couple of weeks, pulling hot steel out of a dress. Y'all look like, what did he just say? Did he insult Eric Rivers? No, I'm just making fun of him as usual. No, Eric was wearing the kilt. And he had on a piratey looking shirt, and I think he had earrings on, piratey looking earrings, and maybe a bandana of sorts, and he was working. Was it Fiery Furnace Forge or Dragon Forge? Dragon Skill?
Dragon Force? Yeah, something like Dragon Forge.
Yeah, and just having the time of his life teaching people. And Dan Crenshaw, I think, is he a congressman or a senator? One of the two. He sat and made a sword with him one day. So, yeah, he's hit
awesome.
the big time. Yeah, he'll be back with us soon. He was hoping to be on tonight, but yeah, he's hit the big time. He's rubbing shoulders with the politicians now. So I know Dan Crenshaw is, I think he was injured in service. Thank him for his service by all means. And he had his, wears a patch. And I asked I asked Eric, did he wear eye protection during that? And he said, no. But then he said, yes, by all means he did. So that's good. That's good. It's interesting, in a blink of an eye, things can change real quick. And even if, and no pun intended on that, in the blink of an eye, but in just a moment, I was working at a forge last weekend and, using a tire hammer and beating on stuff coming out of a coal forge. And, my hands are all scarred up this week because, things were flying and popping around, and at no time did I feel unsafe because I was wearing, this beard, which protects me. But, but I had my safety glasses on.
Kindling.
Yeah. It would go up real quick in a big flame. But I did realize just how quickly things can change because you've got this, power hammer or tire hammer coming down, is going bam, 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 bam. And if you don't pay attention, if you go at an angle and something kicks up, or you get in too far, or just whatever, you just got to be very careful. So yeah, always wear your PPE. And I'm just glad to see that Mr. Crenshaw did that. Hey guys, if you haven't been to TR Maker, I'm telling you, he's got something really cool coming out. Every time I go to make a guard, and I know Mark, you've made guards, you go to drilling those holes through them, and you start saying, I'm spending $5,000 on a mill next time, which you never get around to because you really can't justify it. Then you go, maybe I'll buy the one for Harbor Freight for $1,200, which you really can't justify because you need the $5,000 one, not that one. But it's a good start. We all started on a 1x30 grinder, but TR Maker has come out with a new product that has not hit the market yet, but it enables you to put a set of guides into a vise that lines up with your drill so that you can drill many different size holes that come out perfectly aligned down in your guard. So you're basically at that point just filing out the small in-betweens and opening up that guard area very quickly. But, since TR Maker has offered high-quality, fast service from Istanbul, Turkey to every country in the world, when you order something from him I ordered on a Wednesday, and on Saturday, it was my house in Alabama from Turkey.
That's amazing.
It's beautiful. And shipping has always been included with me. You need to check out their line of knife making tools to make your job easier. And you can't do without them once you discover them. They're just wonderful, wonderful products. And a lot of people actually are fortunate enough that he'll engrave your maker's mark on there as well. So if you ask him, if he says that costs money, don't blame me. Don't get him in trouble. And I don't think it does, but he puts my maker's mark on my stuff. And I think he does that for a lot of people. So you'll need to check that out. That's tr-maker.com. Hey guys, what I have been up to, I told you that I was working on a big knife, and I've been talking about that knife since August, but I'm just about to get it done. And of course, it's working on it since August is because I work a little, I sat back and look a little, I measure a little, I go back and work a little, and I'm not timid on working at it. I'm just not rushing it because, again, I want to present it as a guild knife. And that's the one I want to make the really nice special sheath for as well, which they don't look at the sheaths, but I do want it to stand out. So I'll be working on that, but I'm so excited that I've often talked about every knife I made for almost 2.5 years was presented to people. I did not sell a knife for almost 2.5 years. And I wanted to do that for people that were blessed or need blessings. You've all heard that story before. And I tell you what, God opened the way all of a sudden when I've come not to the end of this because I still do it, now I've upped the ante to, to who I give them to. I've got 17 knives now on order, and it's blowing my mind. Where do these 17 knives come from? Now, one person ordered 7, one person ordered 3, so that's 10 of the knives. But it's like, where did these people come from, and do they really know who I am? So, meaning I want to be humble, because it's remarkable. It's kind of like me saying, "Hey, Emily, your scales and the work you do is just gorgeous, and you're the only person that can do what you do because you leave a little bit of yourself in everyone you do, just like I can identify Mark's or Joey Terrio's knives or even Eric's knives. It's beautiful." Or a what's his name? Trolsky knife. There we go. It's something I've been making. I love that guy's work, and I've come. And it used to be that I dreamt about him in knife making, so to speak. Because I watched everything. It's okay to dream about people. I didn't say I was chasing him around in a pretty little forest. I was just you would stay on your mind about knife making, and if I've come so far now, it's just kind of like, I would be ashamed to say I see him as an equal. I see him as an equal when it comes to being a human being and this, that, and the other. And he still makes gorgeous knives, and I couldn't duplicate what he does. But I feel
he's a great guy, by the way.
Wonderful,
I don't know
wonderful
if you've
person.
talked to him. He's
Many
a
times,
great
yeah.
person. Yes.
Yes. And one time, I think he was joking with me. He told me he was going to move to Nashville, Tennessee, and he was trying to get sponsorship to come over here if the elections didn't go well in Poland. And I was ready to line up everything with a local senator and all that to get him over here. And then it was gone, and he was building a new shop and everything over there. But it's like, Trolsky's going to be my best friend, and he's going to have to get a restraining order against me. So. And then I got some salvation. And speaking of salvation, I need you guys to go out to redeemsteel.com. They're made up of craftspeople of all sorts: blacksmiths, bladesmiths, metal workers, and woodworkers, leather workers. They use their talents to build homes for the homeless, give water to the thirsty, feed the hungry, share the good news of Jesus Christ, and so much more all over the world. Redeem Steel uses the work of their hands, the words of their lips, to make a lasting impact on the planet and the people that we serve with love. And you can find them at redeemsteel.com. So with all that being said, we're going to take a little break, and we will be right back. Maybe. That was pretty, Mark. You did a nice job. Yeah, you play everything. You need to get better at when I say we'll be right back is to start playing at that time, though. Okay.
All right. I'll get my timing down.
Maybe there's a delay coming through when I say we'll be right back, because it seems like last time there was like a 7-second or so delay before you started playing the mandolin. But you do a really nice keyboard too. Thank you for that.
No, I got to get my finger position on there again, and so it takes me a while. I'm not that good.
Well, you're doing good. You're very talented. Very, very talented. Well, I want to talk tonight a little bit about, I mentioned something about tire hammers and forging, and I want to talk about the value of finding somebody that knows what they're doing. I've been able to make a nice knife for some time. I didn't say the best knife. I didn't say a record setting or a master quality knife. I've been able to make a nice knife for some time. Excuse me. And one of the things that I wanted to do is to learn how to forge more efficiently and learn the tricks of how to do it. And I'll open it up for a little bit of discussion tonight. And Emily, you can apply this to the things that you do, or even with knife making as you know it. And Mark, the things you do. And it's not all about forging, but last Sunday, my wife was mad I skipped church, but I went to the Alabama Forge Council Coleman chapter with a piece of steel that was gifted to me by Mark, piece of Damascus, and it was made by Josh Howard. And I went down and worked in a coal forge that week. and I actually want to buy a coal forge now because it's really cool. You got to manage it, and a gas forge is much easier, but a coal forge is just fun. I'd have to use it outside. I'm not equipped to set one up inside, but we worked out of that coal forge and beat that piece of steel into the most beautiful knife. Looks a lot like Josh Ferran style because I was following his guidance, and he probably had about 25-30% into making that knife because he was showing me hits and how to get things done. So it's actually, I guess, sort of a collaboration, but I'm going to give him more credit. So during that process, I learned the following. I learned that he prefers to use the rounding side of a hammer, and that when you're making your I learned how to take a rectangle piece of steel, stick it in a tire hammer for the first time I've ever used one, and beat it down to expand a thinner piece of steel into a thicker piece of steel, so I could get an integrated bolster.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you put it on on end, you beat that thing in the tire hammer and squish it down and thickened it. Did it not like mushroom the top and the bottom, and then you get real thin in the middle?
It did, and I've got the answer for that too. So
because I tried to do what you were doing with the hammer, and I got I get a little mushroom on the top, and I got a little mushroom on the bottom. I got it looked like a little mini curved I-beam.
Yeah, and that's the term that he used last week is I-beam as well. So what we did is that this is, you take a rectangle, lay it on its side, and that piece of steel was probably a 1/4 inch thick, and we needed we wanted to get up to just under a 1/2 inch in thickness. So we marked that piece of steel where we wanted to hammer it, making sure we had enough to take out a tang in the future as well. Future of hammering it, and we placed it into the tire hammer about 20% of the way in on that piece of steel, and we started hammering it, and it formed that little mushroom top and bottom I-beam, and then you would just turn it to the side and flatten it out, put it back in, I-beam, turn it to its side, flatten it out. And what it was doing was pulling that piece thicker and thicker and thicker, and every time you turned it over, you flattened it back out. That eventually you had a 20% of a piece of steel was now thicker than the rest of the blade, and it was flat. At that point, we took about 30% or 40%, maybe 30% of that piece that we had just squished out and made, and turned it and then squeezed it down and made the oh my gosh, I'm 60 years old. I can do this now. The tang.
Yep.
Tang.
Mm-hmm.
Loved by astronauts everywhere. Do y'all get that?
That's right. We do.
Yeah. You're from Florida. You should understand that, Emily. Did you ever drink Tang growing up? She's like, "What's Tang?"
No.
Tang is
I did
powdered
not
orange.
grow up here.
I drank Tang.
Powdered orange drink from somewhere else in the world. Welcome, Jason Fry. So as Jason's coming on with us,
glad to finally be here.
We are so tickled you're here, my friend. So after we hammered out a section of the Tang, then the next step was to isolate the bolster. So we heated that steel back up, and we wanted a slanted bolster, so we put it into that tire hammer. And it was so neat because you didn't go as deep as you wanted the bolster, so you could, every time that thing came down, it would leave a slight line that you could see coming back to where your bolster was as it was going in. And we brought it back, and then we rounded it around because we wanted a rounded bolster, and rounded it around, which kind of kicked out the heel of the knife. And then we used the round side of the dies to kind of pull that heel down. After that, we heated up, went back to the anvil, used the rounding hammer, and started hammering out the heel to get it just past 90 degrees up and down, back towards the tang. And then it was just a lot of hammering with the tire hammer with heats to draw out the knife to get it down to about a little more than 3/16 thick. And I'm just going through the steps, guys. At that point, we took the knife, and Josh showed me the coolest thing. Instead of doing your typical hammer down, this is what it means. You go out and let somebody show you how they do things. Instead of going out and hammering down that point on the front, he took it straight to the tire hammer and started bringing it, almost making like an arrow shape as he drew it out. You know what I'm saying? It was a rectangle, and he just kept hitting it and drawing it out slowly towards him to where it formed a point on the end. Then we heated it up and we took it back to the hammer, and we hit down and made a banana instead of an arrowhead. Now we had a banana point sticking down. And then we started thinning out our edge. And here's another step that you don't learn unless you sit with somebody that knows what they're doing. I see so many people, and this is what I do as well, because he showed me that's what I was doing. Number one, I was forcing my hammer down with my arm and my muscles rather than in my elbow, rather than that hammer coming up and kind of rolling with my wrist and dropping it and coming down with the weight of the hammer. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. And I'm hitting the same place a lot easier than I was before. I'm using my passive hand to draw that steel in and out, and this other hand's just dropping in on the same spot every time. And I'm like, this is control. And then he said, Chip, you're putting craters all over your knife, and you're going to have to go back and fix those later if you don't take care of it now. And I've always been one that says you have to sand as you go in my woodwork and making lures and stuff. You can't turn an ugly lure into a pretty lure once you've finished it before you paint it, because you didn't sand it as you went and take care of all the details. Same goes with house building cabinets, or, chiseling stone to make statues, or making resin handles or whatever. You've got to do the right things at each step along the way, which we don't do in knife making because there's 1,000 mistakes into every knife. But then he started showing me, and if you're watching that hot steel hitting that cooler hammer, it's leaving a little mark, and you're just taking increments going down the cutting edge of that knife that you're thinning out. And all of a sudden, instead of getting highs and lows every time you strike, you're just slowly pushing that steel out, and that knife is getting longer, and that point's starting to come up where you bananaed it straight, over.
You're unbananing the banana.
Exactly. And very controlled. And then when we finished that and got that down to a just slightly less than a nickel's thickness, he's like, let's go to the center of the blade. And we went down that and did the same thing and started drawing out the point. And all of a sudden, the point was coming. Jason, I turned 60 this year. What do you call when you start bringing the end of the knife?
Your distal taper, or
distal taper. Distal taper. That's what I could tell you these words and everything any other day of the week. I get on here and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. But
yep.
Yeah. So going down that middle, that distal taper started to form, but we're getting some more length and it's straightening out. And then once we finished that, we went to the top. And when we went to the top, the distal taper really started forming, because we weren't hammering out at the tip at that point. We were stopping before the tip, which we had already hammered out to the point, and the distal taper started thinning down. And it's just magical how you don't have to force it. It kind of does it itself, as long as you're paying attention to your thicknesses. And here's another lesson I learned. He says, now look at your knife up and down. He goes, if you look at it, even through the scale, you can see you don't have many divots in this knife. And if you look at the top and bottom, you can see it's pretty straight, and we straightened it along the way. But then he went and got a piece of chalk. What's the metal chalk? Give me the name of that. That's what I forgot now.
Soapstone?
Soapstone. Thank you. I just call it chalk here at the house, but yeah, soapstone. And, we drew it down the spine of the knife and drew it down the cutting edge of the knife. And when we did that, all of a sudden, all the black no longer obscured everything. You could see the thicknesses going down the spine. You could see the thicknesses going down the cutting edge. You could look at it straight down. And all of a sudden, because there's enough soapstone right on that corner, you can see any bends or anything. So then we heat that up and we go out and take that out. And then when you get done, it's like, good gosh, look how that turned out. Look what I just did. And then I said, hey, man, why do they put water on these anvils? And he said, fire in the hole. He told everybody, going to be a big bang. And he put some water on the anvil, and he hit that thing, and man, that hammer come flying off of there, and it sounded like a cannon going off. And of course, I sort of knew, but I got to experience it. Man, you can really flash that scale off of a knife blade real quick when you put a little water on it on the anvil, and it's very loud. But that was 20 knives and 600 hours worth of watching YouTube videos, and sleeping with my Trollsky doll. My wife knitted me a Trollsky doll, like a teddy bear. Nothing weird, just like a teddy bear. But I learned in 4 and 5 hours sitting in a shop in a really cool setting. You guys saw some of the video from that. And it was one of the most remarkable experiences. I reached in my wallet and was going to give Josh, to say thank you. And all I had was a $5 bill on him. And he was like, thanks. So I'm going to get even. I was like, it's all I've got. And he goes, oh, take it for a donation. I'm like, no, buy a hamburger. I'll bring you more money. But, and it's just a way of saying thank you. I mean, it may not even be money. I may, do something nice for Josh, because what he did for me, for a senior citizen, was, and even if, well, I'm getting there. I got a senior discount coffee this week, and I'm very proud of that. Thank you very much. At a participating McDonald's, I found out it's participating. Yeah, that's something I couldn't have learned in months of making knives that I learned in an afternoon. I'm ready to go make another one. We've got open forge at at Elkmont, Mark, where you went with us last time, and I'm taking a piece of steel up there on that big blue, and I'm going to start hammering out another one. So this is going to be my knife for Paul with the Cleverleys out of Nashville, and I communicated with him this week and let him know that, hey, this was a learning experience for me, and he knows he's seen the other knives I've made and this, that, and the other. And I said, you're getting number one of this, and it's a collaboration knife with a Forged and Fire champion. And I think that really made the knife worth a lot more to him, because I said Forged and Fire champion. He was like, Forged and Fire champion? I'm like, yeah, he's an acquaintance. I hang with some pretty cool guys. But honestly, what an experience. The Templar's tip: join a forge council, join a knife making guild, hang out with people making knives, learn the tricks. You've got the autism. You've got the that too. You've got the artistic. We all have something going on, that's for sure. But no disrespect meant there. The artistic ability is already here. So the issue is go find a master of sorts. And I'm not talking about a master knife maker. If you can find one, great, but they're expensive. But find somebody that'll share what they've done with you, and then share with them, or at least show some appreciation. That's my story. That's upbeat and inspiring.
Good story, Chip.
So that was called Upbeat and Inspiring, and it didn't really upbeat or inspire me. But I had my other option was Optimistic Short Life. I definitely wasn't going there because I just turned 60. So I maybe should go with Optimistic Short Life and see how that sounds next. But guys, what is Upbeat and Inspiring is if you go to popsknifesupplies.com. They've been in business for 40 years, started by James Poplin, but these days, Alan Searles, Joey Berry, and Dirk Lutz, they're full-time knife makers. Matter of fact, Dirk Lutz is such a great artist in so many areas. Look at the watches this guy's making. But what in the world? Did y'all hear that?
That would be a truck driving by on the highway across 2 extra streets from my house. I don't know. That's crazy.
My goodness. He had. I've got a guy that drives down my street sometimes during the podcast that does that to me too. But no big deal. We're live. We're real. But you know what? They focus as customer service, great products and prices. You need to check them out today. I went over there within the last month, and as always, got a nice tour. They're always love to walk people around, and got to see the great things that they're doing there, the new building that they're building for the Georgia Knife Guild, and the things that they do. Guy's going to be building presses in there. From South Africa, I believe they're setting up a space for him, and it's just becoming the mecca for knife makers. It's a shame that they don't hold Blade Show a little bit more north, so people can just go between Blade Show and Pop's Knife Supplies. But listen, you can find them online, and you can be there in just a few seconds if you don't live close, and you'll have your orders within a couple days. Go to popsknifesupplies.com and take advantage of what they have to offer today. Last thing I want to throw out is Phoenix Abrasives. Phoenix Abrasives just made a generous donation to the Alabama Forge Council, the Coleman chapter, with some. We've got an older grinder there, but it's in really good shape, and they made a donation of a beginner's pack. It's one of those multi-packs that's got a little bit of everything in it for a guy just getting a new grinder. So we've got a series of belts and things that we will be using to. There's a lot of guys at that location that have unfinished knives because they beat them all the way down to the point that it's time to go to the grinder, and they don't have a grinder. So we've got them some belts over there. So next meeting we'll be doing some grinding. And if you go to phoenixabrasives.com, those fine gentlemen over there will give you 10% off if you just put Templar's 10 in at checkout. And check out also their belts, discs, rolls, wheels, and anything else that you need to get the job done right from an abrasives perspective. Paying the bills. Jason, what have you been up to? Welcome. I think have you been on a podcast tonight?
Yeah, so I went live at about 6 o'clock till about 7:30. Then I took a potty break and then switched over to my friends here. So yeah, I'm still out promoting the book. Got to do podcasts when they come up. You know, I've told the story on here that Harvey Dean says about never pass up a chance to sell a knife. Books are that way too. I get invitations to speak on stuff, and I got to just do it because I got.
Well, you've got a pallet of them sitting in the living room, right?
I've got 800 of them in my garage. Yeah,
there you go. There you go. How many did you start out with?
I bought 1,000, and I said 800. I haven't taken an inventory. I've sold some. I'm in the bottom of my second case, so I don't really know.
Well, that's what I will tell you this. I don't know about the Cub Scouts or whatever, but they're pushing popcorn every fall. So if you've still got some in the fall, maybe you can set up next to them and sell books because everybody needs some popcorn while they read a book. So just hit your local grocery chain where they're set up. I was going to say hit your local Blockbuster Video where they used to sit up because when I was in Cub Scouts, Cub Master Chip, we used to always corner the market on the Blockbuster Videos in town because on Friday night everybody's coming in and renting their videos. That's how old I am.
What's a Blockbuster Video, Chip?
That was exciting.
It's those closed buildings that look like they're falling in, and it has kind of like an awning around it that's probably ripped and faded. That's what they are. That's what they are. Old buildings. Jason, what have you been working on?
Man, so I've been trying to sell a few knives for Christmas. It's been kind of slow still, honestly. I sent out a good solid email with 8 pieces, everywhere from $180 to $5,000. But most of them were under 400. So good price point Christmas stuff. Sold the cheapest one, and that's all. So I would say the market is still, at least for me, a little iffy. Usually an email like that will sell 3 or 4.
Have you
got the low price point stuff in there?
Have you already put your maker's mark on them?
Yes.
Darn.
Maybe one. I think there's one I haven't. You want me to send it to you and you can sell it as a shipment?
Yeah, I've got 17 knives sold, so I've got to. It came out of nowhere.
You got to get after it.
Yeah, I will. Cool, I am. I got. I was telling them earlier. I got 7. One guy 3, one other, and the others are singles. But it was all giddy. but I could take those knives. I just have to make a larger logo, kind of like covering a tattoo. I could probably just etch a larger logo than yours. How wide is your logo?
About 5/8 of an inch wide by 3/8 tall.
Yeah,
something like that.
Too damn big. I can't do a cover job on that.
Well, you could put a big old Bigfoot over the top of it.
Well, it's just too big. Maybe a big foot over the top of it. No, you're going to sell those. You're going to sell those knives. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. So Emily, talk us a little bit about your side of the craft. I know that you've worked with other resin artists. Is that the right term? Resin artist in your studio, in your resin studio?
Yes, in my studio.
Have you shared any of your experience, or have you gone anywhere post your initial learning or anything that helped you along?
Not really. No, I'm almost entirely self-taught.
Yeah.
Have I shared? I tried making videos. I failed miserably.
Yeah.
For many reasons. All of my sets require multiple steps in making, and it takes quite a long time for some sets. Some of them take like 6 days.
Yes.
From step to step to step. So, and I lose interest in making the videos because I can't concentrate on the video and on the making of the resin. So I gave up. If somebody wants to be my assistant and just make the videos and put them together and post them,
yes,
by all means. I'm not good at that. I'm obviously, as you noticed tonight, I'm not good with technology.
Actually, you did wonderful. You did it completely wonderful. I don't know. We had, I think, a little hand of God in there in the end. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, did that software install? I don't know. I think it did. Oh, it sounds perfect. Let's go with it. But yeah, we got there. We got there together, and that's what's important in this world, people working together. So we need you to do one thing, and this is coming from all the Templars, is we need you to buy a vacuum chamber and start doing stabilized materials for us. I think there's a big
Why
market.
would you want to do that?
Actually, I just sold all of my stabilizing equipment. I used to do that. I had all of the equipment. I didn't touch it in like 3 or 4 years. I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
And I gave up. There's so many people out there who are pretty good at that, way better than me. There's no point. And I really don't have the time. I work on so many custom designs.
Yeah.
Like I literally am cranking up a new design every day now. So I don't have time to stabilize.
Are you sending out orders every week?
Every week?
Every day? Every week? Yeah, I mean,
every couple of days, yes.
I was going to say, I've seen the volume of material that you bring to Blade Show and the way that, people come and just swamp your table and are buying things. I was just like, I can understand what you're saying earlier, that you're impatient because you've got a lot to get done to fit into a day to get all these things done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jason, you weren't on the show.
The thing with me is that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Jason wasn't on the show when we first started. Don't ever get in a traffic jam with Emily over at Blade Show or anything, because she's a Tasmanian devil when she's having to wait for anything. Woo!
No. I'm pretty good. I still stay in my car. I don't leave my car.
What were you going to say, though?
My time is consumed by the design making, because I work on multiple different sets, different designs, different stages of that. Yeah. At the same time, I try to stock up for blade shows and knife shows and other things like that. So it's time consuming.
Yeah. Are you coming over
I'm not
interested
in stabilizing.
You coming over to the Battleship Alabama in February? And that's really not a knife show. That's just a competition. Yeah.
February, I have Oklahoma. I'm going to Oklahoma in February.
Well, speaking of Oklahoma, I can hook you out with something. This past week, I ordered a black ranchero Western cowboy hat from the great little Grizz out of Kansas. Grizz has made hats for the movie industry for many years. He's been making hats for over 50 years. He's in his 70s now. And he is the Nudie Khan of hat making. The Nudie Khan, you say? Everybody's looking at me
like I don't know that one.
You don't know who Nudie Khan is? Nudie Khan.
I do not.
Well, you can go to Nudies in Nashville. Does that give it away?
I'm not going to look up nudies on the internet to see if I can.
Seems like a bad idea. Oh no! Wait, was that the guy that did the fancy jackets?
That is Nudie Khan. He is the one.
I have seen. Yes. I have seen a thing about that guy.
Nudie Khan, and the new guy that taught him, his name is Emmanuel, and he does it now. Nudie's been gone for years, but Nudie Khan did all of the fancy stitching for all of the country stars in Nashville. So I was talking about Little Grizz, who is the Nudie Khan of Western hats, and he made several hats. I don't know, a dozen or whatever when I say a dozen, for a dozen characters. I don't know how many hats he makes for each one for recording, but he did one for called Oregon Trail, which was a movie that came out this last year. I think it was a Paramount movie, and it's so neat watching TV and seeing the hats that these people are wearing and knowing, hey, I've got that style, and it's not exactly like that, but it's made in this kind of like Jason's knife making. You can pick out a fry knife. Mm-hmm. You can see your maker's mark in those hats. So I've got a black ranchero coming. So Emily, if you want to borrow one and you're driving, you'll have to come through Alabama and I'll let you borrow one. No. I'll have 8 Little Grizz hats now. I hear you. But y'all need to go out and see Hats by Grizz on Etsy and pick you out a hat today. And when I get my ranchero in, along with my brand new black Tony Lamas, I'll be styling. Give me a big black Johnny Cash jacket. I already got a Gibson. I'm just not brave enough to sing a song for you guys on the guitar yet. Have you
been out to the West Texas town of El Paso?
No, but I've been to Lukenbach.
Okay, that's a good place as well.
Yeah. Waco and the boys. No, they weren't there, but I stopped at the post office and mailed a letter to myself.
There you go. So you have a postmark.
I have a postmark letter to myself from Luken. Well, it's a postcard that I mailed to myself from Lukenbach. And next time I go out, I'm going to Brazos and down near College Park, and I hope to go over to the Alamo. I want to go down in the basement and see the bike storage room they've got down there. So,
which is so ironic because before I came in here, that was actually on the TV. My wife had that on.
The tour the tour of the Alamo.
Yeah, and I was singing to myself, "The stars at night are big and bright."
Cha cha cha. Yeah, every time.
I think if you hang on a little longer or a little before that, you can sing Tequila in your white patent leather shoes with a big heel. So great movie.
I wasn't offered tequila.
Tequila, that reminds me of Ameribraid grinders that reminds me of Ameribraid grinders and accessories. Good tequila and good grinders, not at the same time. Ameribraid owners Eric Aubie and Kevin Rourke have developed one of the best grinders, accessories, and tools on the market. I use them. Take a look at one of their 3 packages. They've got the Mastery, the Foundations, and the Get Grinding, so you can see what's right for you. Also, you can call Ameribraid and speak with Kevin or Eric, and they're going to walk you right in to the perfect grinder that fits your needs. You'll be making great products. Sound a little bit like Max Headroom. Max who? Max Headroom.
You're really pulling out the old ones now with the old.
Yeah.
I'm 60. I'm 60, baby. I'm 60. And they will help you find the right grinder. Yeah, Max Headroom. Do you know Max? In the 80s, he was to appear like a digitally created character, and it was actually a real guy. And the way they filmed it, Max Headroom was actually a real person that looked like a digitally created character because the technology wasn't there then.
Man, the next thing you're going to tell me is that Spuds McKenzie couldn't really surf.
No, I was going to say, girls just want to have fun. Oh, girls.
Okay.
Is that right,
That's
Emily?
Possible.
Is that right? Girls want to have fun? Everybody wants to have fun.
I cannot vouch for all of them. Everybody wants to have fun.
Yes. Life is about having fun and good stewardship. I've got a question for you guys tonight. It's called "Would You Rather."
Right.
No. We're not going to go. We're not. No. We're not going to go. Would you rather again? I'm just joking. Guys, if you had to choose one style of knife that you have to make for the rest of your knife making, what would it be and why?
Ooh. So do I have to sell these, or is just am I making them for fun?
If you had to make one type of knife that nobody wanted to buy for the rest of your life, no,
we'll say a lot easier.
No, we can with the stack of knives. I'd make butter knives. No, if you could sell everyone, what would it be?
For me, it would have to be buoys, because I like making large bowie knives, and there are so many variations.
Yeah.
So it gives you enough steel to do really complex Damascus. It gives you enough steel to do interesting hamons. It gives you enough room to make a really big chopper or a 6-inch thing that would pass for a hunter. I mean, bowie is a broad category.
What defines a knife as a bowie?
There's no such answer to that question. It depends on who you ask. Yes, 10 knife makers, you get 12 answers. So for me, I would say a clip or a drop point, usually a blade at least 6 inches up to about 12 or 14. Overall length better be 10 inches or more.
Yeah.
Usually has a guard. I don't count it as a bowie if it doesn't have a guard. So like a big chopper or something without a guard, full tang is probably not a bowie in my mind.
Nope. I'm looking at the definition right here.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
You keep going though. The length is the blade length is 5 to 12 inches, which is surprising. I didn't really realize a 5-inch knife could be called a bowie, a 5-inch blade.
Short, but yeah.
The length of the knife has to be 12 to 18 inches. After that, it becomes a sword or a what do you call a short sword? A short sword?
Yeah.
Yeah. It becomes a sword.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Where is that from? Is that a Google AI answer or something?
No, it's Wikipedia.
Okay.
No. It's Wikimedia, which is a proud host of Wikipedia sister sites.
Oh, knockoff Wikipedia. So here's an issue I take with that. So they said the blade can be 5 inches long on the short end. Yeah. But they said the short end of overall length was 12 inches. So they are allowing for a 7-inch handle on a 5-inch blade to be called a bowie, which everybody knows is bullcrap, right?
Well, maybe it's got a 3-inch. Maybe it's got a 3-inch guard.
It may be. I'm just saying. I take issue with their numbers.
Yeah, I think a bowie. I think if you want to say a bowie, it's going to have some type of guard on it, and
I think so.
Yeah, and I think the handle's just open to the creator. You've got to have a nice.
It could
guard
be a single guard. It could be a double guard. It could be a flat guard. It could be an oval guard. It could be all kinds of stuff. But it's got to have something to be a bowie.
Yeah,
especially the original, like the early Sheffields, like were all pretty straight handled with a guard.
Mm-hmm.
The modern curved looking bowie knives are still bowie knives, but they didn't used to look like that. With the big contoured handles like Nick Wheeler does. Used to do.
I'm looking at
coffin handles can be buoys.
Yeah,
got some coffin handle buoys.
There's a lot of versatility.
Yep.
So I'm looking at the Waco Tribune right now. They say this knife attributed Jim Bowie's brother given to a Ranger museum.
Yep.
And it's got a flat guard on it, just a piece of flat steel, a long knife with a clip point. The knife looks like it's about as long as the lady's forearm that's holding it, and it's just got a wrapped leather handle, just a basic roundish, kind of ovalish, roundish looking wrap level handle with a brass flat guard on it, but the clip point stands out. So
Okay, so I did the same thing. I just asked Grok, which is Elon Musk's Twitter AI.
Grok is full of. But no, go ahead.
So a Bowie knife is a type of large fixed blade knife with a distinctive curved clip point. Here are some key features. Blade is typically 6 to 12 inches long with a sharp pointed tip designed for thrusting. Shape, the blade often has a clip point where the back of the blade is ground down to create a secondary point, enhancing penetration capabilities. Cross guard. Guard to protect the hand, usually with Quillen's projections to catch an opponent's blade. That's not quite right. The handle is made from various materials like wood, bone, or horn, designed for a secure grip. It's named after Jim Bowie. Blah, blah, blah.
Of Bowie Brothers Bagels out of Austin, Texas.
Pretty much.
1833.
Something like that. Jim was killed in 1836, so yeah, they could have had Bowie Brothers bagels before that.
I'm glad I hit 1833. That was pretty good.
Austin wasn't a thing, so it would have had to have been Washington on the Brazos or someplace down like that.
Man, can't BS a Texas guy, that's for sure.
I'm not a Texas history guy.
Well, you know what? And in addition to that, you can't BS the guys over at the Rivers Experience and TRE Workshop on Facebook. You want to let Eric Rivers, who's been doing a great job teaching people making knives here lately, teach you the finer arts of knife making at the Rivers Experience on his website, YouTube, and the TRE Workshop. As a matter of fact, you can get on there over the weekend, and he's usually doing a live broadcast, taking a piece of steel from a piece of round bar or flat bar all the way out to a finished knife by the end of the episode. Has a great following, and guys need to get out there and see him. You can find him at theriversexperience.com or TRE Workshop on Facebook. That's all I got to say about that. You can learn to teach you to make a Bowie. He's made a Bowie before. Mark, what kind of knife would you make?
No, actually, that's what I was gonna say. I was trying to find something that you can have the most. You don't want to make the same thing for the rest of your life, right? Because you're going to get bored, right? And so, whatever has the most versatility, then you could put the most spin on it, right?
True.
Mm-hmm. So there's a question that my wife has asked her class about if you could only eat one food for your whole life, blah, blah, whatever. Same question, right? And the smartest answer we heard was salad, because you can have pasta salad, lettuce salad, various dressings on your salad, fruit salad, Jell-O salad, right? Salad with meat on top. He picked salad because it was so versatile.
See, I was going to say pizza because you can have. Your wife would love me because I was going to say pizza because I was going to say you can have so many different styles of pizza. You could have pineapple pizza. You can have barbecue chicken pizza. You can have hamburger pizza. You can have cheese pizza. You can have
Alfredo sauce pizza. It doesn't have to be that red sauce all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So ice cream's not a bad choice either. But if you had to be specific on what type of salad.
Yeah. Then you wouldn't go.
Mine would be corn dog salad.
Interesting.
Oh.
I am actually the visionary that created the corn dog salad. I was in Dobson, North Carolina, and went out to eat with a bunch of guys on a business trip several years ago at the little mom and pop restaurant there in town, and I ordered a large garden salad and 2 corn dogs. It's a country thing to eat. And they all got whatever was on the menu for the day and this, that, and the other. And over comes this giant bowl full of salad. It looks like the bowl that your grandmother would have made biscuits in for a family of 12. And it is full of salad and 2 corn dogs on the side. But the table was packed with food, and I didn't know where to put them. So I threw the corn dogs in the salad. And I was sitting there eating it with a fork, and it was actually pretty good. One of my buddies said, "I've never seen a corn dog salad before." And I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. So when we go to Sue's, it's called Sue's. I always order the corn dog salad, but I have to order it in 2 parts and assemble it myself. So corn dog salad would be my choice.
Well, there you go.
You can't beat a good corn dog.
I was tempted to say hunters for the same reason, right? Because what's a hunting knife? It could be everything from a buck 110 lockback folder or a slip joint to a forged or stock removal or all of that. Those would actually sell. So if I had to hustle and sell them all in this scenario, I would have to say hunter. A hunter would be my knife.
Yeah, if we asked this
question, I would rather
question,
make buoys if money was no object.
If we had to ask Pinto that question, if he was here, he would say Pinto knives. And I would say, like, why? He goes, because I make beautiful knives, and Pinto knives are, now he's in the Damascus phase of development and this, that, and the other. So I would say, but he really does make almost a single type of style with many different varieties. But he could sit and make that beautiful Pinto design with the guard and the Coke bottle handle and that beautiful knife coming out of it the rest of his life. I think he'd be happy. Mark, you haven't chosen a knife yet.
Well, most of them are taken up. I'm too slow, right? And so, buoys and hunters and,
you can say the original.
You could say buoy, but you have had to have made a buoy to say buoy. Have you made a buoy?
Well, I would classify my hidden tang drop handle, almost a buoy. I think by that definition, it categorizes by the buoy. It's got a clip point, guard,
right?
Hidden tang, is bigger than 5 inches. So, I think that classifies. You could probably say kitchen knives, right? Like if that's something you enjoy, not chef knife, kitchen knives, right?
Well, culinary knives, right? Culinary, but there's many different types. You're going to make santokus, or you're going to make root to forge santokus, or stock removal. I mean, okay, so you're still deciding, I believe.
Yeah, I'm still deciding.
Are you there? Okay, I'm torn between the Pinto style that. I guess we'll call it that guild ABS type presentation knife, and then just the Trollski style knives, because that inspired me in the beginning, and I made several knives till I think that I got the spirit of the type handles. And if you had to say, Chip, you have to make a knife, I would probably go with the Trollski style blade with that drop point and that rounded handle, smooth edges and everything. And I have to give him credit, because that's where I watched his videos, learned to make my first knife, and still love his work. So there's a beautiful simplicity to a lot of his work that just really stands out, and just, it's his, like I said, you can see a Jason Fry knife, you can see a Mark knife, an Eric knife, and you can certainly see a Trollski knife. Mine is kind of like my accents, and Emily be like, hold my beer about accents, but everywhere I've lived, I kind of develop the accent of where I'm from or where I go. So now that I live in Alabama, I'm developing more of that Southern accent. But when I came down here, people would ask me to speak in meetings because they wanted to hear me. I talked too fast and never said hello, and just jumped right into business and, talk like a Canadian, because I lived, real close to the Canadian border, and, influenced by that culture and the way people spoke up in Detroit. So now that I'm down here, a little different. So I'm kind of influenced. I don't even know if I've got what I would call my style. I've got my maker's mark and kind of all over the board. When are you going to make a knife, Emily?
When? I tried once.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It is not for me. I did not like it.
Got you.
I did not pick up at all.
Now, we would say if we had to make one type of scale, then the rest of your life, what would be?
Oh, you do realize I probably have like 300 to 500 designs, right?
That's what I was thinking. I don't know how you could do that.
Are there?
Yeah.
I'll probably go with a trout. I'll probably go with a trout. I'll probably go with a rainbow trout.
That does define you, because I will tell you, your trout pattern is gorgeous. I really do.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Matter of fact, send me some samples of those. I need 4 samples. No, I actually will
Roger
probably
that. I'm
order.
writing it down.
Yeah, no samples. I pay for everything. But I will tell you that I have a relative that's wanting me to make him a trout knife, and I will probably order some trout scales from you soon. Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Figure out what type of trout they want, and I'll get them going.
It's rainbow and browns up where they're at, so rainbow would fit in just perfectly. Matter of fact, it's predominantly rainbow. So,
excellent.
Jason, do you have a tip for us this week?
So I was out skinning deer.
You got to introduce the 384 tips.
Oh, yeah. So once upon a time, I wrote a book called Knife Making Hacks, 300 and some odd knife making tips to make a knife like the pros or something like that. And this one is in there, but I didn't look it up.
I'll say we can go to Deere's. It's okay, but I wanted to make sure you've got some of those books left. I do to sell.
I do still have them, and I'll send you autographed copies. You can buy those on my website, which is frycustomknives.com.
There you go.
But, so I was out skinning deer. I went deer hunting over Thanksgiving, which is a family tradition, long standing. And I went hunting at my best friend's ranch. We have hunted there for, I think this is our 34th year, and I'm only 47, right? So we have done this our whole life, pretty much. We have hunted together. And I shot a nice deer, and I pulled out a knife out of my bag to skin it with, and it was incidentally my 50th knife.
Wow!
It was 1084 heat treated in a pile of charcoal. Some bricks, so way early in my processes, right before I even had an oven. And I've skinned a bunch of deer with it. But anyway, I put a mesquite handle on it, and the kids left it out in the yard, and the handle fell off and everything rusted away by the time I found it. I refinished it and put some G10 on there, and that's my 50th knife. But anyway, circle all the way back around. The G10 I put on that knife was only 1/8, and so that knife is too thin. It's only like 3/8 thick because it's 1/8 steel with 1/8 scales, right? And I had a heck of a time skinning that deer, splitting that sternum in particular, gutting the deer, because my knife handle was too thin. So my tip is not use fatter handles, although that was relevant in this case. My tip is use your knives for what they're supposed to be for, right? I developed a thicker handled hunting knife because I made one that was too thin and used it a lot and realized, man, that wasn't any good, right?
Yeah.
So if you like filleting fish, man, make a fillet knife. Use it. See if the experience you get in the field using your own stuff should make you improve your stuff. That would be my tip for this cycle is, do the tasks, do the actual things your knife is supposed to do, and you will learn about your designs. You'll learn about your own capabilities. You'll learn about what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah.
Ultimately, make a better knife that way.
So many times I'll say something on the show just to insult every knife maker out there, and I don't mean that this way. But, yeah, you use your knives. Find out what they're good for. Find out what they'll do. Because I see sometimes people sit there and go, this is a Hunter Skinner. And you look at the blade and you're like, but that's not going to – that knife may be more of a maybe go through some joints and stuff, but I don't really see that knife helping to take the hide off of a deer. Matter of fact, put that in perspective, because I used to make beautiful knives in my mind, not necessarily worried too much about the function. And a friend of mine who has 2 of my early knives, he says, I use this knife for deboning the deer. But this little one that you made me as an everyday carrier, that little curved blade on it is just perfect for skinning a deer. I mean, I've never skinned. I've skinned things, but I've never skinned a deer, and didn't have that perspective. So I think that's a great tip, just in saying, know what the intended use is before you name it for an intended use.
Well, and do it. Actually do the task, right?
Yeah,
don't just call it a hunter if you don't go try to skin a deer with it. The time that you get, on a gun, the time that you get behind the trigger, on a car, the time that you get behind the wheel, on a knife, the time that you get with that handle in your hand doing the job, that's where you really learn stuff.
Yeah, Josh Ferran this past week was talking about making culinary knives. I think it's a guy from Australia that he knows that he had look at his knives one time. And he says the guy will very quickly look at your culinary knife because he's known for it. I apologize, can't recall his name. He will look at it and he'll say, "You've never cooked before, have you?"
That's rough. That's rough.
And Josh says that's really telling. I mean, there's certain things, and if you listen to the Faders and all those guys talk about how a knife should work, and I use the common names that we all use. There's so many more out there, but how a knife should work. I know the first chef knife I made, if you tried to cut a carrot with it, one half would shoot 90 degrees off in one side. It didn't slice them. They were popping apart. Just wasn't made for it, but it was pretty. So there you go. So Emily's going to end up making me some rainbow trout scales here in the next future. And if I do that, I want to ask you something, Jason Fry. So you see these guys will post pictures of these beautiful fillet knives that they make, and they take them and they're very thin, and they take them and they lay them down on the table with the point, and they kind of flex that thing down. They bend them and they come back like that nice little fillet knife. What's that Swiss knife fillet knife you can buy at Kmart and all the places, been around for 100 years?
Oh, you talking about like a Rapala?
Yeah, Rapala. That is a Swiss company. Yeah, Finnish or Swiss. So what is it in that steel, or is it just the thinness, or what is it that gives that steel its spring and the ability to go back and forth like that to shape?
So steel bends or flexes based only on thickness, right? So the thinner it is, the easier it is to flex. The thicker it is, the harder it is to flex. Yeah. That is solely a function of the thickness of the steel. Nothing else. Not hardness, not composition, not anything.
What keeps it from coming back to its shape, though?
That's where I'm going next. So the ability to bend under pressure is a function of nothing but thickness. But the ability to not bend and stay bent, or the ability to spring back, is a function of material and hardness and temper and all that. So you could take a thin piece of mild steel and bend it, like that on the tabletop, and it would probably stay bent. It wouldn't do anything.
Right. So
part of what they're showing there is I've got my heat treat right. This isn't so brittle that it'll bend and snap. It's hardened enough where it won't bend and stay bent. Right. It's that nice balance between toughness and edge holding that they're looking for. The flexiness only comes from the thickness, but when they do that test, they're kind of showing, but I also got the heat treat right.
Gotcha. So those particular knives, you're really going to need an oven to get that into it, you think, or
not necessarily? Not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, you could do it with carbon steel. It's because the bendiness is all about thickness. So
gotcha.
It's just whether you temper it back enough to not snap, or carbon steel. If you're doing it in a forge, you'd have to do it right so your grain size wasn't too big, because you can't be brittle at all in that scenario.
Yeah. Well, we've seen plenty of master submission knives, the test knives that they bend back and forth, and a lot of them don't always go right back to shape. I don't know if any of them I've seen go all the way back to shape, but they certainly...
I've seen a few that came back pretty darn close.
Did you?
Yep. Yeah, not very many, but the goal of that one is to bend it without breaking.
Yes.
It's not required in that test to come back to straight.
Right. Yeah. I think most guys bend them back just so they can get them kind of bent back to shape so they can mount them somewhere. But I've got too much work into a knife at that point. The last thing I want to do is bend it.
Right. I know a lot of us keep them around and we're like, well, this is for cutting around corners, right? Stuff like that. That's
guys,
the stereotypical JS knife joke.
Let me get you through a couple of these. That's Broadbeck Ironworks. They make a great versatile 2x72 grinder and many other tools on the market. If you visit them, you can see them at broadbeckironworks.com. You've got housemade.us. Brian Houseworks Company also has 2x72 forges and great builds, quench plates, and so much more. You need to go out and check out the Apollo Forge and also that 2x72 Revolution that they've got. I will tell you, I've got a friend I just found out has a plasma cutter, and he said, "Yeah, order you a set of plans, and I'll cut that out for you." I even got the steel, and I'm like, "I'm there. You had me when you said plasma cutter." So, additionally, I want you to go out and see F&M Metalworks. That's Two Bastards, and Smithy and Supplies make some of the great hammers. Matter of fact, video I made this past week, I was using their rounding flattening hammer. And if you're looking for a great choice in your next professional hammer, you need to check out the genuine Two Bastards Fat Peens, hand-forged dog heads, and a wide variety of restored hammers as well. You can find them on Facebook at Two Bastards, and Bastards is spelled as Basterds. Finally, I want you to go out and see Clark Iron Forge. Clark Taplin from up in Franklin, Tennessee area. He makes one of the best presses out there. I tell you what, I love mine. I got a 25-ton, but I think he's got a 17, 25, and a 40-ton press. He's always got also made himself a series of forges. And at this last knife show, he had a what do you call it? The roller mill to mill it out, the thickness. Did I say that right?
Rolling mill, yeah.
Yeah, he had a rolling mill built into his press table, and beautiful design, great. I think as that continues to develop, it's going to be a go-to. You can visit Clark at clarkironforge.com or check him out at Clark Iron Forge on Facebook. See what he has to offer you. Well, I can't believe an hour and a half has already gone by so quickly. Is it cold in what's the weather in Florida, Emily, as we're winding down here?
Oof, it's supposed to go below 32 or freezing temperatures tonight.
Do you have a heater?
Wow, that's cold for down there.
Yes.
Do you have a heater in? Do you have
cold.
A heater in your home?
Yes, I have heat.
No,
in my
I know.
house,
The reason I asked is I know that I had a relatives that lived down in Florida, further south, that didn't have heaters in their home, so they had space heaters if they needed to get them out, but they certainly had air conditioners. But so heaters is pretty much a standard item. At 50 degrees, y'all are turning them on, or 60 degrees, right?
No. If it goes below 70, I'm on heat. I gotta turn the heat on. This is no. 60
just
is
so
very cold for me.
Yeah, looking at my watch right now, it's 29 degrees here, and my wife and I will be sleeping we'll be sleeping with the windows cracked tonight. I love my feet hanging out of bed sheets on a cold night. It's just but we've also got a down comforter on top of us cooking underneath, and my dog sleeps up next to my back, so he's a little heater as well. Mark, you guys, you're going to be about like us. You said you're in the 40s, so you're about 10 degrees warmer.
Yeah,
so I would say.
Yeah, it's actually 39 right now, right? So you said it was 29 there.
Yeah, just below. Yeah.
So it just hit 39. So it's about 10 degrees difference.
What do you crazy that y'all are so cold over there?
Yeah, it'll be 32 tonight.
Well, it's only 42 here.
Wow.
We've frozen now twice or three times. Next week on Wednesday, it's supposed to be 23.
Yeah.
So we're usually colder than y'all are over there. That's why I'm kind of surprised to hear y'all talking about freezing when we're not supposed to freeze tonight.
Well, yeah, y'all get some crazy coldness, and then you cook and you freeze. You cook and you freeze.
Yep. That's why the plains of Texas were so late to be settled, because nobody really wanted to live here.
I got you. And then when they decided when they said that Texas ain't working out, they went to Oregon, went through the pass, and everybody ate each other, right? So
something like that.
Wasn't that the Oregon Pass where the people went full cannibal?
Yep. I thought it was that California? The Donner Party?
It's Donner Pass. I'm sorry. Donner Pass, not Oregon. Oregon Trail, Donner Pass. There you go. Don't ever go full Donner Party. Not a good thing to do.
Oh, no, not a plan.
Yeah. Let's jump through. Mark, this weekend you've told us you're going to be making some blades. You're getting ready to go to New Jersey. When you come back, you'll be a made man. He's going to
That's
New
right.
Jersey still. He's going to New Jersey steel bearing for the ceremony. So that's looking good. Looking good.
Yep.
Is that all you got going?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think I'm gonna, start any new knives before I leave, just because I don't want to have something just half done and sitting there, because then I'm gonna be thinking about that the whole time and not visiting my parents. So
I just take them with me. I just take them with me and stare at me. You're going to be delivering a knife to your parents, are you not?
Yeah, there's in fact that's on the agenda this weekend too. I got to sharpen. I have those 3 knives I'm bringing up for gifts, and so I got to sharpen them up. And I think the goal is going to be I am going to ship the knives, because I think shipping has a better track record than my airline baggage. So I'm going to ship knives up there, and then I'll bring the sheaths with me. So.
Did you know if you purchase pants from Kmart, you can ship your pants? I ship my pants. Yeah, Kmart.com. I ship my pants over at Kmart.com.
Is Kmart still a thing?
You can. They've still got. There's one Kmart left in the world, just so you know, and you can still go to Kmart.com.
No.
That was their last great ad campaign before they went totally under. And my dad was a Kmart store manager for years. I worked at Kmart, and so there's a lot of. My wife worked at Kmart's headquarters many years ago. But yeah, their last ad campaign was, "You can ship your pants at Kmart." I just shipped my pants. So,
well, there you go.
It was actually pretty good. I don't know why people didn't start rushing to the store after that. It was good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Jason, what are you doing besides shipping your pants?
So tomorrow I've got a kid coming over. So I was doing a demo, and this random lady came up and said, like, my son is looking for a knife maker to apprentice with. And I said, I don't do apprentices, but I do have people over sometimes. Right. So I got a 14-year-old homeschool kid coming over tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do, honestly.
So she's not
wanted to be my apprentice for real. I would make him clean my shop. But.
So she's not a Hooters waitress. She's not a Hooters waitress that doesn't have a father for her son. Then, right?
Best I can tell. Like I say, I don't honestly remember. You talk to so many people at demos. You're like, yeah okay. I don't remember who this person is, honestly.
Just let him know.
Seems like a nice guy. He reached out to me on his own.
So good.
That's part of why I indulging this, because if you got a 14-year-old kid that's willing to ask, man, I'll let him go. That's cool. Come on over.
That's good.
I will say before I sound terrible by saying that, Emily is in our private group, and it was so funny this week that Big Hand Dave went, "Oh, I forgot there was a lady. I forgot there was a lady in here." I'm like, well. We shouldn't talk like that anyway. But
I questioned that. I was like, lady? Lady?
We try to treat all the ladies like a lady. But you haven't disproven yourself yet.
Yeah. But I went to Hooters one time, and my wife and I, who were dating we were dating, and we went to meet one of her girlfriends and her boyfriend that were there. And I never went back to another one. I was a little embarrassed going there. I mean, if I wanted chicken wings, I don't know. I guess I've always been kind of a nerd. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. I've never been to one of those.
Well, you better hurry up. I think they're going out of business.
Probably.
Yeah. And I did find out.
They're selling a bunch of stores. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out there's a place called Twin Peaks in Louisiana, and this, that, and the other. And I think that's the southern version of Hooters wings down there, called Twin Peaks.
Yeah, they have those here too.
Yeah, I'm like,
haven't been.
This stuff is so 80s and 90s. Anyway,
I guess
so
I wouldn't.
You're apprenticing the Hooters greeter son tomorrow,
something like that. And I guess to stay with the theme, like I've got some special oil, and I'm going to rub my wood this weekend. I'm refinishing a gun stock. I'm refinishing a gun stock. I just couldn't let that junior high reference pass. Yeah,
Oh,
What are you using?
wait. Here we go.
But I'm
I
cheating.
think this is it. There you go. That was the right one. All right.
So I've been working on a rifle for a while. Had my original deer rifle rebarreled, and refinishing the stock to make it all pretty.
Very good.
So I've put a bunch of coats on it of some stuff I had at the house, and it didn't work. It came out all streaky and gross, and so I went back to my regular Linspeed oil that I use on knife handles.
Can't beat that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've put, I think, 4 coats on so far today. Probably do another 3 or 4. It's coming along. It's getting better. I'm sanding the gross spots with 600 in between.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, just trying some knife handle stuff on a gun stock for my rifle.
You know, I always go last. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make Emily go last. I'm going to work on finishing up the handle on the Bowie knife and getting it completed this weekend and just being able to move on, and then go on to the chef's knife that Josh helped me work with. And then within a week, I need to start on those other knives. They're not for Christmas. They can come out after Christmas. But additionally, I did spread oil all over my garage door tracks this week because the garage door was sticking. So I used some bar and chain oil for my chainsaw. Yeah, and nice and thick stuff. And but ultimately, that's not the ultimate fix. I need to replace the rollers, and I YouTubed how to change them quickly and efficiently. So I'm going to change those tomorrow. No, that's knife making. But the neat thing I want to share with everybody: my mother passed away in October. 84 years old, and she lived a long life and was not suffering at the end, but was bedridden and was ready to go see the Lord. My father was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia at that same time and just crashed and burned. And I believe in faith, and it's my show, so I can talk a little bit about faith. The last time my parents saw each other before she went to the hospital and before he suffered and went to his hospital for an extended stay, they looked at each other and said, I love you forever, and hugged each other. And they really didn't have any idea that they were leaving each other for the last time. After that, my mother died 10 days later, and we went up for a funeral, and we could not tell my father because the doctor said it would be too traumatic. He was in too bad a shape at the time. And over the course of the last 60 days, he's eaten. They've found medicines that have worked, and he's doing much better, even though his life's certainly going to be shortened. He's 87 almost. So, I mean, not his life shortened. I mean, he's got more time with us on earth. And we weren't allowed to tell him. And he went through kind of a hell trying to get him, because he's a little bit combative and this, that, and the other, trying to get him into a rehab facility. And the rehab facility we was in was less than what we wanted. It was not a happy place as far as I'm concerned. But he made it through that. He ate and he got stronger. And this, during that time, we had gone to see him while I was up there, and he said, "Your mom came to see me last night," just as plain as could be. And he said, she said that she's waiting for me, and whenever I'm ready to come see her. And we said, "What are you talking about?" He said that she's died. I said, "Okay." But we weren't going to tell him. So all of a sudden we're asking nurses and everybody, "Did y'all tell Dad this? Well, how could you do this? How could you do?" Nobody said a word. And hearing him say what he had to say, it was like, obviously he wasn't told too much. He wasn't told anything as far as we're concerned. Did Mom come see him? And today, my sister, my brother, myself, I attended by a television FaceTime interface, and his minister's wife, and his best friend. came to this wonderful new retirement home that he's in, that they've decided not to put him in memory care because his medicines have stabilized and he's doing pretty good. And we're sitting around and we're getting ready to break the news to him that Mom has passed. And he said, Mom told me y'all were going to come see me today. And we were all just awestruck. That was all that was said. And we told him. And he said, she and I have already cried together. Everything's fine, and I know I'm going to see her someday. And he broke down and cried a little bit. And I will tell you guys, part of my mission in this world is to spread faith. I don't challenge your religion, who you believe in. I just want people to treat each other right, and I want the world to get along. I don't want to go out and hug trees, and I don't want to go out and scream for political parties. I don't want to tell you that you've got to love Jesus or you're going to hell, because that's between you and your maker. But I will tell you, if you don't believe in something greater than who we are here on earth, you really need to take a look. Because my brother, who has been an atheist for many, many years, said, I don't know much about God. I would like to go to church with you on Sunday, Sherry, with Dad.
Wow.
And I'll leave you with that. I'm not telling you to go to church or go find God. I'm saying he's there for you. And I'm just telling you, there is something there that I've always believed in, and you should open your eyes to it, because it will take away a lot of the anxieties, the depression, the worry, and everything in the world once you open your eyes up to that greater power that's there for all of us. And other than that, I'll spend tomorrow not doing anything right that my wife has asked me to do, and she'll come home and tell me about it for 3 or 4 hours. So that's just kind of how my weekend goes. And I'm looking forward to seeing Dad up at Christmas time. So not to come down, that's really a story of hope and salvation and love. And like I said, I'm not challenging anybody's beliefs or anything else on this show. Just go out and love somebody. And that's what we're all about. So, Emily, can you follow that up with anything good? Please do, because I got way too somber.
You're leaving me speechless here. So many thoughts crossed my mind. I cannot share them.
That's fine.
No, that's too deep. I can't.
Well, what are you doing this weekend?
I do agree. Go out and find and love somebody.
Yeah.
By all means.
Love is the greatest gift of all, Emily. The greatest gift that we've ever been given. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're not making any scales this weekend? Oh, she's coming back now. She's coming back. Okay, I took her out. I took her out there.
This weekend is resin weekend. Resin.
Very good.
A little bit more resin. Yes.
Emily, I'm not worried about the price. Go ahead and put me together a set of rainbow scales, and we'll square up on the cost. Just send me the PayPal size? Or whatever it is.
5-inch or 6?
5-inch. Go ahead and make them 6 inches. I can always make them shorter, but I can't make them longer. So, and you may be able to do something. I may be able to do something with like a bead or something like that. You just never know what you can do. So, yeah, go ahead and no rush on them. If you've got Christmas orders and stuff, I can get them after Christmas. I've got a little little Grizz hat coming, so I'm all excited about that at the moment. So, and then I'll go on YouTube, because I love supporting makers. So you'll see me. I love to go on social media and just talk about the great makers out there. I don't know if my name pushes anybody anywhere or what I have to say, but I love to talk about makers that are doing things. I hope you have a wonderful weekend doing that. I will tell you this. I saw that Chris Carlisle, 103675, whatever it is, at TikTok.com, looked at my TikTok page today. And I was talking to my brother, the one that said he wanted to go to church for the first time today. He said, hey, I saw your TikTok page today. And I said, you did? I said, you've got a TikTok site? He says, I just got to log in, but I don't ever go there. He said, I was at work and some guy said, hey, you got to see this guy's TikTok. And he looked at it and he goes, that's my brother. And because it says Shegman Knives, the guy said, no, it's not. So they were sitting there arguing for a second until he pulled up some pictures and stuff and said, yeah, that's my brother. So that was kind of cool that my brother stumbled across my TikTok page through somebody else saying, you got to see this guy's. And it was the videos I made of the tire hammer and and beating on that steel last week. So you never know. God works in cool ways. Hey, guys, I hope this recording goes well. This has been really a special show, and we're getting ready to go into a new year. We're at episode 70 you're listening to right now, and hundreds coming around the corner. And I am so proud and honored with these people that come on here and support me and each other. Not just me, we support each other. That's what I really meant, to produce a good, wholesome podcast, one that we can be proud of. Emily will be wearing her Knives Templar shirt at Blade Show next year with her casting crafts on the back. We'll put a nice logo on there as well. And but we're very honored to have this whole group come together. And we're honored that you listen. So if you have any questions or comments, if you want us to do a product review, either on the show or videotape something for you, or even have guest ideas, email us. If you want to come on the show, email us at the knivestemplars@yahoo.com, or you can also DM us on Facebook in the Knives Templars podcast group, or find me, Chip Carlisle, on Facebook, and just contact me through instant messaging there. But visit us at knivestemplars.com to stay up to date. This episode is sponsored by the Rivers Experience, Redeem Steel, CastingCrafts.com, Ameribraden, and for parts and accessories, Majestic Forge, Pops Knife Supplies, Maritime Knife Supply, Housemade, and Phoenix Abrasives, and Templars 10 for 10% off of your order. Broadbeck Ironworks, I didn't say it, I apologize. They also offer 10% off parts and accessories by putting in Templars 10 there as well. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube Music, Anchor, Amazon, YouTube Video, and CastBox. Again, go out and see us at the knivestemplars.com and email us at knivestemplars@yahoo.com. We always like hearing from you. And with that being said, we're going to see if we can actually get this closing to work this week. So, guys, what do you say?
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you guys for joining us.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Brought to you by PORKHouse Productions. Oinky, oinky, oinky.
Yay, it did it. It did it tonight.
We can't go without the oinky.
Yes, we did it. So, Jason, our first 30 minutes, we were getting software, the after show. We were getting software loaded onto Emily's computer, and she did such a wonderful job. She got her mic set up, and and she's got her earphone.
Right.
You've just settled in beautifully. And
it took like 45 minutes to figure out the microphone's buttons.
Yes, but now you're an expert. And somebody told me one time I had to give a speech for a business presentation in an auditorium in front of a bunch of people, kind of like a mini version of the Apple, product release that Steve Jobs used to do, but it was for solar panels. And I was doing it with a group that made advanced materials. And my buddy, Dirk Levens from Beckert, I said, Dirk, I don't know anything about making solar panels. I'm a safety guy. He says, you know how they're made, don't you? You give the tours. I said, well, yeah, I know how they're made. He goes, if you know 10% about making solar panels, you know 100% more than the people in here. You're going to do great. It was part of a joint venture. I got a standing ovation at the end of that. I mean, you talk about I'm shuffling papers here, but you talk about feeling important. I was like, oh my gosh. So you did wonderful. You did wonderful. We did wonderful, and proud of us all. Jason, how's your father doing?
Doing well. We hung out some over the Thanksgiving break. You can definitely tell that he's got some stuff going on, but he started on some medicine and doing, Parkinson's is funny. It's either going to be dramatic crash or long, slow, and you never know. So, so far, so good. I mean, No telling.
Is his mental outlook doing good?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, seems to be all right. He last time we were deer hunting, I skinned his deer for him because he wasn't sure he could do it. But this time he actually gutted his deer on his own.
Well, good.
Which again sounds kind of silly to be like, "Yay, Dad, you cut your own deer," but it was a big deal.
Yeah,
big deal. So yeah, it seems to be doing okay. He was hiking all over the place on the rough country hunting deer. So
I will tell you, the pictures that you sent back reminded me of a Clint Eastwood movie or some old Western. It was so gorgeous out there. It makes me want to come see you sometime.
Yeah, you should come out. So that country is extra special. It's the country around Llano, Texas, Enchanted Rock. So I've hunted my friend's ranch there my whole life. But beautiful, beautiful country.
Yeah, just gorgeous. What was that big round rock boulder y'all were standing on? Is that thing solidly? I guess it's solid on the ground.
It's granite. It's granite. Yeah. So that country is really rough granite hills with deep ridges and really big giant boulders and stuff. And that particular place is one that we've all climbed since we were little kids. And
how did you get up on that thing? Is there a way to climb up that's pretty easy?
Yeah, it's easy enough. Like the 7-year-olds got up there with an extra hand across.
They can go anywhere. I'm talking about how the old guys did it.
There was a couple of spots. They got up easier than we did.
Yeah, we're not as bendy as they are. So
no, we're not as willing to jump across crazy gaps as they are. Because if they fall, they bounce. If we fall, we probably don't.
Well, I was glad to see.
It was a great time.
I was glad to see you got your deer. So that's always a good thing. So good deal.
Got something to eat now. So
congratulations to your dad. You're not running out of yard birds, are you?
No. I still got 4 chickens. I spent the last weekend before Thanksgiving doing fence. I built some chain link, and then I paid a guy to build the wood fence so that we can. If you spend $4,000 on your fence, that justifies keeping the free dogs from the Walmart parking lot that caused the whole mess in the first place, right? Not usually works. You get a free dog and have to build a bunch of fence.
Yes. So Emily, just so you know, I'm working. Like I said, if you like Chick-fil-A, you're welcome. I don't work for Chick-fil-A, but I work for one of the companies that provides product to them. And typical poultry house has about 60,000 birds plus in it. So for everybody that's got birds in their backyard or front yard running around, we call those yard birds. It's and an elevator in a feed mill is not the same thing as an elevator in a building. There's a man lift, and then there's an elevator. An elevator carries grain to the top. So these are all the terminology I've learned working in the poultry industry.
Lift. I like that.
And then not only is there a man lift that you get inside like a elevator in a business building, then there's the belt lift where you just step up on the platform and hold on to the handrail or the handhold on the belt and just ride it up. So you're basically on a conveyor belt, a vertical conveyor belt, standing on a platform going up 5 or 6 stories. I don't do that anymore. Quit doing that in 2013.
Anymore.
I used to just jump on them anymore. Well, here's what it is that I suffered a little vertigo several years ago when they were adjusting some blood pressure medications. And I was like, yeah, if there's no reason to go up here, I don't need to go up here anymore. So I don't go where I don't need to go.
Yep.
No sense in that. Well, Mark, I hope you become a made man. You've come a long way. And right. What part of New Jersey will you be in?
So they're in my sister is in northeast portion of New Jersey. So you can, really from her house on the highway, you can kind of see the Newark skyline there. So she's pretty close to the city. My parents live more towards the center of the state. So down towards Atlantic, toward Atlantic City.
You familiar with Lake Apacon, Succasunna, that whole area?
Yep. Yeah. I had an aunt and uncle who lived in Lake Apacon. Yeah. So we were up there quite a bit.
I used to get Coors beer balls and party there all the time back in the 80s. Remember the beer balls? Do you remember the beer balls?
I do.
I mean, this is the night talking about old things that nobody else remembers. Yeah, the old Coors beer ball was a plastic container that you drank all the beer out of it. When you were done, you put an M80 in it and threw it out on the lake and watched it explode. Big boom. So, I can't say. There's a reason I'm a safety manager, and there's a reason that I'm still here for some reason, because God had a bigger purpose for me. I should have taken myself out a long time ago. Every girl I grew up in North Carolina. Every girl I ever dated was from New Jersey, whether it was in high school or college, because IBM was down there in the banking industry, and so many people from the North came down there. And a couple from New York. So I dated people from New York or New Jersey, and I don't know what it was about. I guess I just wanted women that would just put me in my place, because my wife is from New Jersey, and I met her in college, and or right after college. We actually ran in the same groups in college and just never knew each other. Matter of fact, one of the girls I dated in high school was in her sorority. And when she heard that this guy, Chip Carlisle, had asked her out on a date based on my previous girlfriend's, who I dated for a couple years, review of me, she kind of wondered if she should or not. So I'm very lucky that she said, yeah, I'll go out with him. But yeah, I tend to get along with New Jersey people real well. Beautiful people come out of New Jersey. It's a little hidden gem in the world that nobody knows about if you know the right parts of New Jersey to go to. Detroit's another, Michigan's a beautiful state if you don't go to the wrong parts of it. So there you go. Guys, I guess we have hit the 2 hour and 5 mark. I didn't realize that we would get that far, but I thought it was going to come a little short tonight. But it didn't. Somehow or another, we always hit it, and it always comes in about the same time. Emily, you're doing wonderful. Welcome again. You're great. And next time we come on, I will. Well, good. I'm glad. And we'll get some of the other guys back on here. Josh was on the road all week, and he and his wife had some time together tonight. Big Hand Dave is still doing football games, and Eric is. He's been doing a lot of work with I'm not sure, was it a Renaissance Fair or something he was at, or State Fair or something?
I think Renaissance Fair, yeah.
Yeah, been doing that for quite some time and doing a great job. So we're looking forward to getting those wonderful guys back on here shortly. Very, very important part of the show. But there's room for us all, and I think that's the beauty. We are not the view of knife making, but we are the final. We are the final word in knife making. It's just great to have a large cast of people that we can all get on here. So excellent, guys. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will get this one out quickly because I want to make sure that Emily's not going every time she talks like she did. My fault.
Come on, I have the Yeti now.
No, I know, and I didn't even touch your audio tonight. You did beautiful. And with that being said, we are going to say good night and
oinky oinky oinky.